the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Party chief underscores patient-centered approach. Later on, ASEAN and Vietnam together towards ambitious goal. And in our world news, Russia opened to restoring bilateral ties with the U.S.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is currently 8 a.m. local time, and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lee with the latest updates. Now, on Tuesday morning, on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of Vietnamese Doctors' Day, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm attended the inauguration ceremony of the Institute for Health Protection of Central Officials, or A11, and the Clinical Institute for Infectious Diseases, or A4, at the 108 Central Military Hospital. These institutions are expected to contribute to providing medical care for senior officials of the party, the state, the army, and the public.
Party General Secretary Tô Lâm commended the achievements of the medical staff, doctors, and scientists at the 108 Central Military Hospital, recognizing their contributions to the remarkable progress of the healthcare sector. Emphasizing that protecting and caring for public health is a shared responsibility of society, with the healthcare sector playing a central role, the party chief urged the hospital to continue strengthening leadership, innovating management, and making breakthroughs in medical expertise. He called for developing a highly skilled, ethically sound, and dedicated medical workforce.
The hospital should continuously maintain and comprehensively enhance its professional quality in all aspects with a patient-centered approach. Moreover, it should strengthen treatment integration with scientific research, training, and technology transfer, and establish appropriate mechanisms to expand specialized medical training. Further, the hospital is advised to promote administrative reforms, apply information technology and artificial intelligence to improve healthcare services, enhance management systems, and meet the armed forces and the public's growing healthcare demands.
The party chief expressed confidence that the new institutes will enhance effectiveness, contributing to the continued development of 108 Central Military Hospital, strengthening its integration and elevating Vietnamese medicine to new heights.
On Tuesday afternoon, Frederick Smith, founder and executive chair of FedEx Corporation USA, met with Party General Secretary Tô Lâm, who highly appreciated the corporation's business results and the contributions made by FedEx and Mr. Smith to Vietnam's development. The General Secretary emphasized that Vietnam is implementing a breakthrough strategy on infrastructure, welcoming the corporation's plan to expand investment in areas of strength such as infrastructure, services, and transportation. The chair of the FedEx Group believes that Vietnam has all the elements to become a regional transportation hub and wishes to continue expand operations in Vietnam, especially at major airports under construction. Also on Tuesday, State President Lương Cường met with the Provincial Party Committee's standing boards of Quảng Ninh and Hưng Yên provinces to announce this year's Politburo inspection plan for the two provinces. The four inspection areas include streamlining the political apparatus, the organization of party congresses at all levels, the development of science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation, and the proposed Socio-Economic Development Plan 2025 with a growth target of 8% or more. State President Lương Cường urged the inspection teams and provincial authorities to adhere strictly to principles and processes, enhancing the efficiency of the political apparatus. On Tuesday morning, chairing the first online meeting of the Steering Committee for Anti-Wastefulness, connecting to 63 provinces and cities, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, head of the committee, emphasized the need to make practicing thrift and combating wastefulness a habitual, voluntary action as natural as daily meals and drinking water. More to follow.
In recent times, the fight against wastefulness has been a top priority for the party and the state, with strong leadership and decisive actions yielding encouraging initial results, helping to channel more resources into the economy. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh acknowledged that, alongside measurable progress, wastefulness persists in various forms, significantly affecting public trust while diverting resources from development. Emphasizing the growing need for rapid development and strong economic growth, the Prime Minister urged that anti-wastefulness efforts must adhere to 5 key principles in the time ahead.
Combating wastefulness is a crucial task under the party's leadership and the flexible and effective governance of the state. It involves the active participation of the people and businesses. It applies across all sectors and must align with streamlining administration, restructuring personnel, cutting bureaucracy, and enhancing decentralization. Efforts should support national growth, innovation, digital transformation, and institutional reforms while removing barriers to major projects and mobilizing resources for development.
The Prime Minister directed all sectors, levels, localities, and relevant entities to urgently review and refine institutions, policies, and laws, clearly identifying obstacles and assigning responsibility for their resolution. Additionally, the Prime Minister emphasized key priorities, including streamlining administrative procedures to eliminate inefficiencies, strengthening smart governance, and accelerating digital transformation across all sectors and levels.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh attended the opening session of the second ASEAN Future Forum in Hanoi on Tuesday afternoon. The theme was Building a United, Inclusive, and Resilient ASEAN Amidst Global Transformation. Also in attendance were the President of Timor-Leste, the ASEAN Secretary General, and leaders from several ASEAN countries.
Speaking at the opening session, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh stated that as ASEAN enters a new phase of development, it is projected to become the world's third-largest economy. ASEAN is also expected to emerge as a hub for technology, the digital economy, and innovation. To turn this projection into reality, the Prime Minister emphasized that ASEAN needs not only solidarity, consensus, and unity but also breakthrough thinking, sharp strategies, feasible roadmaps, concentrated resources, and decisive actions.
I propose 3 priorities: solidarity, resilience, and identity. ASEAN must be adaptable, flexible, relevant, and effective in responding to changing circumstances. It must mobilize resources for development. ASEAN must also enhance regional and global connectivity, ensuring transparent institutions, seamless infrastructure, and smart governance.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh stressed that Vietnam's 3-decade journey with ASEAN has affirmed its strategic vision. Vietnam strongly believes in ASEAN's solidarity, unity, cooperative spirit, vitality, and strategic value. Committed to being an active, responsible member, Vietnam aims to contribute to building a united, inclusive, and resilient ASEAN community, working together to realize the ASEAN community vision.
On Tuesday, Party General Secretary Theo received Timor-Leste President José Ramos Horta during his visit to Vietnam to attend the second ASEAN Future Forum. Both leaders expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the Timor-Leste president's visit to Vietnam last year. Notably, bilateral trade in 2024 increased by 21.4% compared to 2023, and the agreement on visa exemption for holders of diplomatic and official passports is now in effect. Both sides agreed to enhance exchanges and meetings at all levels and work toward establishing new bilateral mechanisms that meet the cooperation needs of both countries. Also on Tuesday, during a meeting with the President of Timor-Leste, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh urged acceleration of negotiations on agreements in various fields. The two leaders also agreed to continue advancing the legal framework for bilateral cooperation and effectively tap into the significant potential for collaboration between the two countries. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said he appreciates Timor-Leste's determination and efforts in implementing its roadmap to gain full ASEAN membership. He confirmed Vietnam's support for its ascension to ASEAN. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on Tuesday received the Deputy Prime Minister of Laos in Cambodia during their visit to Vietnam to attend the ASEAN Future Forum 2025.
Receiving Lao Deputy Prime Minister Salim Sheikh Khalmasith, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh underlined the need to thoroughly implement agreements and the cooperation plan signed off by their respective politburos, focusing on finding new ways to promote cooperation. Reviewing the key ongoing projects, the Prime Minister highlighted the Vietnamese government's determination to complete them and begin new projects. Receiving Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Prak Sokhon, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh praised the Cambodian delegation's contribution to the ASEAN Future Forum. Both sides agreed to continue strengthening comprehensive cooperation, enhance linkages between the two economies, and work decisively to resolve institutional difficulties to promote trade and investment cooperation.
Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnam pushes private sector to achieve 8% growth target. And later on, Vietnam emerges as a trusted destination for international medical treatment. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Vietnam strives to remove barriers in the private sector to mobilize broader participation in economic development. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm stressed that tapping into the potential of private business is crucial for achieving an 8% GDP increase this year and double-digit growth in the coming years.
This small business owner has run a pho restaurant for 15 years with a steady 5% annual revenue growth. He believes a more consistent and effective management framework would lead to even greater business confidence.
Properly managed shops and businesses might coexist with poorly managed ones in the same area, laying the ground for unfair competition.
Vietnam's private sector includes over 5.2 million household businesses and a vast enterprise community, 70% of which are micro-sized. Encouraging these businesses to thrive and contribute to the country's economy requires supportive policies and incentives from the government.
Private enterprises find contributing rewarding only when state agencies foster a more business-friendly environment. These 5 million household businesses already represent a fair share of our GDP. The private sector contributes 28% of GDP, surpassing both FDI and state-owned firms.
The government has committed to institutional reforms, pledging to cut at least 30% of administrative processing time, costs, and unnecessary business conditions.
With regulatory requirements becoming increasingly complex, a comprehensive review is needed to identify and eliminate redundant conditions.
Reducing these business barriers, alongside greater technological adoption, will simplify administrative procedures, lower costs, and boost efficiency. These efforts are expected to motivate businesses and entrepreneurs to expand operations, helping Vietnam meet its ambitious growth targets.
Minister of National Defense General Phan Van Giang on Tuesday met with Acting Secretary for Defense of South Africa Thobekile Gamede during her visit to Vietnam to co-chair the third Vietnam-South Africa Defense Policy Dialogue. The minister highlighted South Africa's important role and position in Africa, noting its rich natural resources, significant economic potential, developed industrial and agricultural sectors, and advanced science and technology. In the coming time, he hopes both sides will promote existing cooperation, enhance collaboration in other potential spheres, and prioritize high-level contacts through delegation exchanges and dialogues. For her part, the South African official expressed her hope that in the coming time, the two sides will coordinate and strengthen cooperation in the agreed areas, thereby contributing to further developing the relationship between the two ministries. While this year's dry season isn't as severe as those in 2016 and 2020, forecasts indicate it will exceed the multi-year average, directly impacting production and daily life in the Mekong Delta. Local authorities have implemented various preventive measures since the season began.
This is Vam Kam Sluice Gate, one of the 4 major gates in Hougang Province, an area heavily affected by saltwater intrusion. The gate has been closed to block saltwater and store fresh water, ensuring irrigation for over 2,000 hectares of rice fields.
The current salinity level has exceeded 1.5 parts per thousand ppt. We will close all sluice gates to protect production areas. If it decreases, we will open the gates to allow for transportation.
The agricultural sector is also focusing on managing irrigation systems to regulate water sources, ensuring agricultural production needs are met, especially in sensitive areas within closed irrigation system, to respond promptly to varying risk levels.
We regularly monitor drought and salinity developments to provide timely updates, helping local authorities and farmers respond proactively. We focus on specialized technical solutions and appropriate farming techniques.
Farmers in the Mekong Delta provinces have taken proactive measures by dredged ponds and canals and storing fresh water to cope with the increasingly harsh dry season. Additionally, key irrigation projects have been completed and put into operation to reduce losses from saltwater intrusion.
According to the Ministry of Health, Vietnam welcomes approximately 300,000 international patients annually. Most of these patients are drawn to Vietnam by its advanced medical expertise and high-quality healthcare services. Many hospitals have emerged as a reliable choice for treatment and care, reflecting Vietnamese doctors' dedication, professionalism, and ethical commitment.
For Christina Vipers, walking properly was a blessing after 7 years of suffering. She endured severe knee osteoarthritis, preventing her from straightening her leg and causing persistent pain. Last year, she and her husband decided to seek treatment in Vietnam following a friend's recommendation.
In a process in Canada that would have taken up to 7 years or more, on Monday, it's now 9 o'clock on Thursday, my wife Tina has just gone to the operating room.
With robotic-assisted surgery ensuring precise incisions, knee replacement procedures can be completed in 60 minutes. Additionally, an adductor canal block technique allows for faster recovery.
Giselle, a Filipino woman in her early 30s, had an extremely low ovarian reserve and multiple health complications. Her chances of becoming a mother were close to zero. Determined to conceive, she turned to in vitro fertilization. Out of the 3 embryos retrieved, doctors carefully monitored them using the world's most advanced embryo culturing technology. Ultimately, only 1 embryo met the necessary criteria for transfer.
Almost like you're holding into nothing. Possibilities, chances are really low, but we were happy that we pushed and we had our baby.
For Michael and Giselle, Vietnam was initially just a temporary stopover. However, it has become their second home, where they found the joy of parenthood.
When I heard the baby cried, I was so happy.
Their story is among those that demonstrate Vietnam's place as a destination of happiness for international patients.
Coming up next in our world news. Russia open to restoring bilateral ties with the U.S. And later on, Cambodia intensifies online scam crackdown with new commission. Now moving on to our world news, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday expressed Moscow's readiness to discuss with the U.S. the possibility of reducing defense budgets, proposing a 50% cut for both countries. The Russian leader welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal to have defense budgets for the U.S. and Russia, with China possibly joining later. President Putin later noted that a core resolution to the Ukraine conflict had yet to be discussed with President Trump. However, he emphasized that Russia and the U.S. would take initial steps to build mutual trust as part of efforts to address the crisis. This week, a new round of negotiations between the two countries will take place, focusing on restoring the normal functioning of diplomatic missions and bilateral exchanges. Cambodia has established the Commission for Combating Online Scams, a high-level task force chaired by Prime Minister Hun Manet. The newly formed commission includes key members of the government. The commission has been tasked with overseeing measures to prevent and suppress online scams. It will provide guidance, coordination, and support to enhance the efficiency of relevant ministries, institutions, and law enforcement agencies. Additionally, the Commission will monitor and evaluate the efforts of government bodies in combating cyber fraud and cooperate with international partners to address transnational online crime. China achieved its air pollution prevention and control targets in 2024 with continued improvement in air quality. According to the Chinese Ministry of Ecology and Environment, the concentration of PM2.5 reached 29.3 micrograms per cubic meter, a year-on-year decrease of 2.7%. The number of days with good air quality accounted for 87.2%. Notably, Beijing has met the level 2 national standard in terms of PM2.5 concentration for 4 consecutive years. The Ministry of Ecology and Environment added that in 2025, China would speed up efforts to fulfill key tasks such as renewable energy heating, mobile source pollution prevention and control to comprehensively boost the green and low carbon transition of industries, energy, and transportation. Now, New York City demonstrated its latest flood protection project earlier this week, a flip-up floodgate to defend Manhattan against storm surges. The floodgate, costing $349 million, is the largest coastal resiliency project in the United States.
Members of the media joined construction teams and representatives from city agencies in Lower Manhattan to witness the floodgate flip up into position at the press of a switch. The Brooklyn Bridge Montgomery Coastal Resilience (BMCR) project uses a series of 97 floodgates to create a 0.82-mile-long flood barrier along the East River from the Brooklyn Bridge north to Montgomery Street.
Over here was probably about elevation 10 above sea level. These gates will help over 16 feet above sea level. So we're taking into account sea level rise, we're taking into account the fact that storms are getting worse and worse over time, and we're building for the future.
The BMCR project will install a combination of flood walls and deployable flip-up barriers to protect the neighborhood from storm surges while maintaining access and visibility to the waterfront. The deployable barriers will be hidden until they are flipped up in a storm.
Is there a high likelihood that we will have another coastal storm surge event akin to Hurricane Sandy? Of course it is, and this will protect a very populated neighborhood from the kind of flooding that it experienced in 2012.
Hurricane Sandy hit New York City's coastline on October 29, 2012, accompanied by a nearly 4.2-meter tidal surge that flooded empty subway and highway tunnels. In the wake of the storm, city officials devised flood mitigation strategies to protect Lower Manhattan and its residents, with the BMCR project being a key component.
Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast for Vietnam and other locations in the world. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To re-watch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.